Hello, everybody. Welcome to the eclipse. You're probably feeling it already, I'm sure. This one is playing out very physically. It's the sign of Taurus. So, Taurus is all about our basic, practical, physical needs. So, it's literally Mother Earth. And we're seeing, of course, depending where you live, but here in Canada, we're seeing massive flooding and landslides and stuff in BC. That's a very sort of eclipse and Taurus like event, right? A landslide, a flood. And really, my heart goes out to everybody there. I lived through two floods where I'm from that were nowhere near that. Nowhere near. We were not in the same level of devastation at all, and yet it was still pretty terrifying. So I feel for everybody in BC right now, and I've seen also there's quite a bit of flooding in the Seattle area too. So let's just pass our little smudge and sage around, and let's send this energy to you to cleanse. Try to purify anything in, on, or around us. It's when there's so much going on, as there has been always on the planet, but the intensity, the speed of what's going on, and the speed that we all, the magnitude of what we all have to adapt to now does seem to be increasing. Is it actually increasing? Has it always been this way and we're just more aware because we're always online and plugged into everything all over the world so quickly? It's hard to say, but cognitively, our nervous system and our ability to, make decisions and not get sort of overwhelmed or scared or fogged out or whatever happens when we're in overload. This is definitely increasing with our awareness of everything and everyone, and the level of polarization that is, again, perhaps probably always been there, but we were, most of the time we walk around sort of masking that. You sort of know in the back of your mind, oh yeah, she and I or he and I disagree with this, but we're just going to pretend that doesn't matter and just interact and do what we do together because we enjoy lots of things about each other. But with the pandemic, provoking so much fear and all the, how difficult it's been for every person, no matter what side of the fence you're on. I think it's been difficult for every single person to come to grips and to decide what they want to do and what they think is right. So of course we're going to polarize, but it has been quite upsetting, hasn't it? I don't think I know anybody who hasn't gone through something like this with a friend or family member. So I just want to acknowledge all of this because the eclipse is quite intense once again for bringing up our values. Taurus is all about, yes, it's physical stuff, it's money, it's food, it's comfort, yeah. But the deeper meaning of Taurus is to value things. What is worth what? What am I worth? What is worth my time? What is worth my money? What is worth doing? So this is the basic progression to me psychologically of the signs. If we look at Aries, because Aries is the first sign, it's really like a newborn baby. It's raw, it's honest, doesn't know how to lie yet. It just blurts out, just cries, screams, laughs without any filter. That's Aries. It's, the next stage, right? You get to maybe like the toddler, the twos and the threes. Well, now you get those terrible twos, right? You learn to say no. You need security and routine in your care and your environment. Taurus loves that, wants that, right? Knows how to provide that. So this is going to come up for us when we have a series of eclipses that are beginning in Taurus and Scorpio. This is where it gets interesting and why I'm getting a little more therapeutic with you today, because there's going to be ongoing eclipses in Taurus and Scorpio until the fall of 2023, if I've done my math right. I checked a little further. Maybe there could be another one in 2024, but I think most of them on this axis are in the next 2 years. So this means every full moon, Taurus and Scorpio, we have eclipses. So this means these issues are going to be activated over and over and over the next couple of years. So what is that? Well, like I said, the Taurus psychology is like, you want your routine, you want your food, you want your shelter. You don't want it to change. You want it to be stable because that secures you, and from that framework of routine or of knowing where you live or knowing who your friends and your family are and having it all, securely in place, then you have a secure identity from that. So this is the deeper thing that's called into question marks right now. Like, so if there's big changes you're thinking of making, well, it could be because those underlying core, like root chakra issues are being activated in you. It will play out in those physical ways too. Things with food security, things with climate events. Our home is Mother Earth, so we will see things in relation to, even Google, when I open to check the weather, all of the articles it keeps sending me lately are seismic activity, not seismic, not volcanic, but asteroids about to hit us, or climate disaster. They've stopped scaring us every day with the pandemic, where people pretty much might still be scared, but we're sort of used to this now in some way, or we've decided where we stand after all this time. And I find it interesting that, okay, now they're going to scare us that the planet is unsecure. We're going to be cut off from our resources soon. Or, of course, a lot of that is real and could happen and is happening in certain areas, but we've got to be aware of, the level of fear we're living in doesn't help us. Doesn't help us to adapt, doesn't help us to cope, doesn't help your nervous system, doesn't help you if you are in an emergency, if you live in fear constantly of something. So we're thinking about, how do you stay grounded and secure during times of major change? Now, it's opposing the sun as well as other things in Scorpio once we get into it. So when eclipses happen in Scorpio, or when Scorpio is activated, what is it? Psychology of Scorpio is, what have you been suppressed? What's been suppressed under the surface? What is the actual truth of things here? Now we get into the matrix. We get into the rabbit hole of never ending. What's going on? What's really real? What's the truth? It can get existential. It can be very powerful emotionally. It tends to shift society when these two axes are activated long enough. And again, it's around values of a different sort, right? Taurus seeks to keep things secure and in place, and Scorpio seeks to transform it by getting to the bottom of it. It wants to know what's true, not just what's comfortable. So one way that could play out, or has played out for so many people, would be, let's say, the notion of, having a house over your head, owning a house. Okay. So a Taurus worldview would be, well, most of the time, well, owning a house is good. You should own property. You should have your own house, take care of your house and stay in that house, be loyal to it. But Scorpio might sort of be like, well, what's the point of staying in the house if I'm not happy in my life? Why does the house itself mean so much? Or Scorpio might want to get to the bottom of, well, there's things going on in and around the house that need to be fixed. So they will point it out. They'll figure it out and they'll point it out, and then they will want it to be transformed so it can heal. But this rocks the boat of Taurus. So this is why these two signs are just so powerfully opposed. One is this force of change that brings us into deep emotions and psychology and undercurrents and things unseen, things that are taboo, things that are considered scandalous. And Taurus is like, don't do that. That's not secure. I don't like this. So they dig in. And both of these signs are formidable, so they can be very stubborn when opposed. But Scorpio can lead you into the spiritual transformation. And that's often a letting go of the material plane. So this is yet another thing we're going to see polarized, the literal, the physical, if I see it, then I believe it. If I can touch it, then it's real, versus the energetic, the spiritual, the otherworldly, the other realms, the faith. We also might see a lot of dark moods. Both these signs, can be pretty emotional and get into dark moods at times, because they're processing something very deep, usually, even if it's in different ways, different areas of life. So it's really important, if you're interested in astrology or you want to get a sense of what the heck's going to come for you in the next couple of years, to really take a look at your own chart and see where the hell does Scorpio and Taurus fall. For example, if you've got Taurus as your rising sign, your first house, and Scorpio is your seventh house of relationships and partnerships. Taurus is the house of yourself, of your physical body. All of these eclipses will very likely provoke constant changes between how you come across to others, like your ascendant, what's the face you show to people. Your physical body could go through transformation. Maybe you have a makeover. Maybe you lose a lot of weight. Maybe you just start dressing differently. Maybe, there's changes in your physical body or your health that are visible to people. Scorpio will, in the seventh house, bring deep relationships, very private, very intense, maybe very passionate. It could also bring out the open enemy side of the seventh house. So again, like deep secrets or jealousies and possessiveness can come up. So there would be a push-pull if you're Taurus rising over the next couple of years between your taking care of yourself or being independent or thinking of yourself and being, just on your own, versus this pull to be in a partnership. And there could be lots of changes in those areas of your life. That's just one example. So if you take a look in your own chart, where do these two signs fall? What area, we can get a pretty good idea what area of your life is about to be, challenged or surprised. And this is why I like astrology so much, because it doesn't predict, this will happen, but it does tell you these areas of your life are about to be, the the flashlight is shone on them, and you will be challenged. And you can tell with the astrology transit how long this period of time is that you can expect these challenges. You know, if you go through something difficult and you're hoping it'll all go away in 2 weeks, and your chart is showing, like right now, the eclipses are showing, no, this is 2 years, not 2 weeks. So if you start to see, well, what's coming up right now in this eclipse? Because this is going to keep coming up off and on and be tested or for the next couple of years. Now you can set your mind and accept the long haul, which changes your strategy, changes how you're going to deal with it. So it can be enormously helpful to know what's going on in your own chart. And if you need help with that, I can certainly help you with that. You can reach out and we can look at your chart and we can figure out specifically for you what themes you're going to be dealing with. So let's take a look at our actual chart now. All right. Now I wish I could share the screen, or I wish I knew how to put up the image of the chart for you. I will try to figure that out for future videos. So again, this is done for New York, as if New York is the center. This is done for the Eastern time zone because that's the time zone I'm in. So you can listen to all the advice, but don't worry about the houses if you were in the West Coast or if you're in the UK or Australia or wherever you're hearing this from. So this particular eclipse has a Libra rising. So think of all that I've just described about Scorpio and Taurus. And now you slap a Libra rising on it. Well, Libra rising is not going to want to deal with or show outwardly the inner turmoil or the problems or challenges. They're going to want to make things seem fair or more attractive or a little lighter, or they'll focus on the surface of it because they really don't feel comfortable usually dealing with emotions or conflicts. And yet this eclipse is full of potential conflicts, just by nature of sun and moon opposing in these two signs. But we're adding more planets to these mixes that are also difficult. So as usual, you know, there are areas of the chart that are in flow that I will point out to you. Where can you maximize this? What mindset maximizes the good flowing planets versus the adversarial tough stuff? And we'll guide you that way too. So all right. So the Sun and Mercury and Mars are all in Scorpio. So this is a really strong pull towards the transformation, the spiritual, the truth-telling, the exposing the secrets, the being raw and honest and just calling something what it is, even if it's taboo, even if it upsets certain people. Mars in Scorpio is like a detective. Can be aggressive, you know, things could come out in an angry way. So we just want to watch for that, although it's Libra rising, so people are going to try to make it sound diplomatic or maybe whitewash it a little bit. But again, if you feel this charge or this anger underneath the pleasant words, you know, you won't be wrong. People might be needing to decide or say or declare things that are difficult for them to say. And so try to have a little compassion, but I would expect with these planets, you might see a lot of passive aggressive responses over this next little while. Yeah, a lot of us just were never taught how to handle our anger well, or our disappointment or frustration well. So it comes out in those ways. Because Mars will definitely bring up some anger, especially when it is opposing the moon and Uranus. It can bring up, restless, agitated, and, with Mars, Uranus, Moon, it can be explosive. It can be sudden. It can be, like I said, like a landslide, like a collapsing, like in BC, collapsing highways is a good expression of those energies. It's a monumental energy that could collapse a bridge or a highway. The water is so strong. Scorpio is a water sign. So if we think of Sun, Mercury, and Mars all in Scorpio, and you think of it as this rush of floodwaters that, yes, it washes some things away. It's going to provoke rebuilding. Some of that is devastating. Some of that might bring something good in its place. We don't know. But it certainly feels like a very intense, overwhelming, and violent type of thing to live through. So not everybody's going to go through that for this eclipse, but some of you might have your own version of like a floodwater, something just gushing through you so strongly you can't deny it anymore. And you might do or say something sudden or rash. And because Uranus is there, you might just do something that shocks people, because Uranus and the moon together in Taurus could be very sudden and very hyper independent. Like no one's going to tell me what to do. I'm out of here kind of attitude. Or I'll make my own way. Thank you very much. I don't need your help. I'm not dealing with whatever dynamics or power. People are not having any of it. So the moon and Uranus in the 7th house is so clear to me that so many people are going to be wanting, needing, asserting their independent spirit within their relationships. So some of you definitely will be taking space, cutting loose. And even if it's not in a destructive, the relationship's over type of way, it could just be, you know what, I'm stepping back. I love this person, but they are not good for my mental health at this time. And you just it's just suddenly crystal clear. I'm taking a step back from this. That could happen. You could be the one doing it. You could be the recipient of it. Uranus makes it all sudden. The moon in Taurus, well, oh my God, the moon in Taurus wants security so badly, so badly. They will sacrifice almost anything usually for the security. But Uranus is sitting there going, and so you're just, you're going to blow, you're going to build, you're going to blow, you're going to be like, I can't take it. So, but, let's say in a partnership, friendship, family, even couple that is more secure or mature, you still might have a challenge where all of a sudden one partner says, I'm sorry, I need to be alone a little bit, or I need to travel, or I need to do something that is mine, and it can still provoke some sadness or rejection or like insecurity in the couple, but they will make it through it. If they're secure enough, they'll honor that their partner needs something different, and the partner will do it in a respectful way, even if it came up suddenly. So I'm anticipating hearing a lot of stuff like this. And because it's such a powerful eclipse, you've probably already been feeling this coming, or it's already happening for the last week or two, even if you're super sensitive like me. Some people won't feel it much. If you're listening to this video this long, you're probably sensitive. So I would imagine you've been feeling these rumblings maybe a week, 10 days. And the after effects, can last also another week, another couple weeks, or you might even feel them or be processing or still refining this until the next eclipse that comes along and rocks it again, like a test. So Moon Uranus in the 7th is just a huge, if I saw that as if somebody's born on the eclipse, and I saw that this was in their chart, I would know that this person is going to have a very hard time staying in a stable relationship because they desperately need it, but they're so restless that it would be hard to find what version of a relationship is secure enough for me. Where do I get this security and stability that I want and need so bad, but also have my freedom? There's your classic question, right? And Moon Uranus in the 7th wants both, and they're going to flip-flop between both. And just as things are nice and stable and secure, they're going to go, get me out of here, I'm restless. And then they're going to throw something off, and then their moon's going to go, oh my God, this isn't secure anymore. What did you do to me? So this would be a very challenging thing if you're born with it. But this is what's going on in the air right now with our relationships. So if you're saying things to people, you're risking telling them how you've been feeling. You're asking for, something that you want them to honor. You have a boundary with somebody. It's going to rock the boat. It's going to rock your boat too. That it's not the same. It's not going to be the same as it was. So if you're prepared to do that, and you can think if this is triggering anything or anyone where you're like, yeah, that's way overdue. I actually do need to do that. And I know that it's going to provoke a change that will probably last or shift this relationship. And I don't know where it's going to lead us. Then by all means, assert yourself. If you've been feeling like something's stagnant for so long and you're ready, then assert yourself. It's a time of great change. And with all the Scorpio planets, okay, Sun, Mercury, and Mars in Scorpio, you might get a really powerful reaction to what you say. You might get a pushback. You might, on the nasty side of things, person might double back and try to control and not allow you to break free. That'd be the nasty side of the Scorpio Mars. They could... it can be an obsessive type of Mars, like an addictive, obsessive kind of Mars to have in its shadow side. So you could be dealing with someone that won't let you go, won't stop messaging you, even though you've told them. So transgressions of your freedom or your boundaries are certainly in the air with this moon too. It could also mean that the way things are being said might not be very nice. Or if it's the higher end of, Sun, Mercury, and Mars and Scorpio, it could be the most beautiful and deep and psychological, spiritual kind of conversation you've ever had. So obviously I hope for you that it's the latter. But not that many of us are in that headspace too often to have it turn out in this sort of lovely, transcendent, healing, breakthrough type of way. Not that many of us have been taught those skills. But it is a potential, and it is maybe the way you want to hold yourself if you need to say something that could be difficult or could rock the boat. So we also have the Sun connecting pretty closely to the South Node. So there's something karmic about what's going on as well. For me, when I see things connected to the nodes, I feel like whatever is going on, whatever is changing, or whatever you feel you're compelled to do, even if it's tough or, gets pushback or resentment or whatever comes up from, it might be something that karmically you need to do this to move forward in your life. The south node is 1 degree Sagittarius, so this is very much, once you move into Sag, you're moving into the phase of, okay, now I am liberating myself. I've been to the bottom of the ocean here. I've gone as deep into the cave as I can. I'm saying what I see. I'm saying what I know, what I need. And now Sagittarius comes back to the light, saying, I have found my truth, and now I liberate myself. Now I want to be free. And so whatever you are addressing right now, there's a feeling in the air to me of emancipating yourself from something that's been perhaps a deeper pattern. This doesn't have to be with one individual, by the way. This could be with a pattern that's gone on for many, many years in your life, and maybe part of you is saying, you know what, this is why I'm doing this, but this is who I am, and this is what I need, and I need to take the risk and do something else now. I need to be a different version of me. You might be up against family systems. You might be up against, systems in terms of your workplace, which could be just structures of society like capitalism itself, hierarchies, all kinds of glass ceilings, systemic racism, systemic sexism. It could play out on that big a level too, because these planets are falling in the second house, which is often about money, our earned money, so can play out in our workplace. And ironically, then the North Node is in the 8th house, which is usually ruled by Scorpio. And it's in Gemini, though, but it would mean exploring your depths, finding a way to, because Gemini is, the chameleon, it's multiple, it's dark and light, shadow and light, Jekyll and Hyde sometimes. It's always adapting in itself to its environment and to who it's with. So it can be a bit on the surface, but it's sitting in the 8th house right now. There's no surface in the 8th house. The 8th house is the Scorpio house. It won't tolerate surface. So how do you interpret then Gemini energy in a deep house? Well, for me, it would be, as you're going deeper within yourself to identify how you truly feel, what you truly want, what energy is pulling you somewhere, what calling is pulling you, what things are you trying to root out in yourself. Gemini North Node would be, well, do it in a curious way, Be curious of your deep process, not judgmental or scared of it. It's like, wow, that's interesting that I would have that pattern. That's interesting that I feel this way. And then it would sort of suggest multiple paths of how to go about healing it, how to go about looking at it. So there could be a diversity of people that you go to for their opinions or their help or their readings or their healing sessions or psychology or your doctor, a whole host of people that you might be, like multiple angles to sort of get to the deep. You could read, a cross section of books or videos, it sort of suggests the way to heal a lot of this is like using multiple sources to help give you little bits of going deeper. But the North Node being in the 8th house to me would stress the importance of getting to the bottom of things, getting honest and getting to the bottom of what is really bothering you when things are triggered and activated. So I'm going to talk a couple about some more of the squares and some of the stressful stuff before we head into where things flow nicer. So Uranus and the moon. Yeah, Uranus is squaring Pluto. Now, that just adds again to my earthquake, landslide, flash flood analogy. Pluto is death and rebirth, and it's in the 4th house here. Now, this is not a prediction for BC by the house because they're in a different time zone, so it might possibly still be in the 4th, but it might be the 5th. But if you're on the Eastern time zone, Pluto in your 4th house, in the 4th house is all about, whoops, family secrets coming out. Whoops, the plumbing just broke. Oh my God. There's some pretty shady energy coming from the neighbors or the people across the road. Pluto in the 4th house is like excavating, with like explosives every once in a while. Rocking your roots, your sense of your home, your family foundations in your home life. So this could be a sign of feeling very restless to move. Where's home? Am I home? What would make where I am more of a home? Can it be? Maybe it needs to be, maybe the upheaval needs to happen and you need to move. Maybe there's big renovations that need to be done. And emotionally, once again, it just accentuates the suddenness, the intensity, the capitulation, the 180, I'm out of here, the announcement, the tell-off, whatever it is. Pluto just adds to this, adds gasoline onto the fire that I just described. And not for everybody, but for some of us, that might be what happens. But you're rocking the boat. Now, the moon is also squaring Saturn, and so is Mars. In the same house, 4th house. So Saturn in your 4th house still tests you on those levels I just mentioned, your family foundations, your home, your family history. It still throws self-examining, and some sense of feeling stuck or tested. And we also have Jupiter sitting in that house too. So there's all kinds of stuff going on with family and home that it can play out so many ways depending what you tap into. But Jupiter is also squaring off here with Mercury and Mars in Scorpio. Saturn is squaring off with Mars and with Uranus and the moon. So my overall prediction would be that there will be some family drama, or some drama around the home, or some sudden information or secret, or someone shares something that shocks and changes the way you process or see your home or your family life. It could literally be your house or your apartment. Things happen in and around to your place, to how you feel in it, to the roof, to Or it could be your very direct neighbors that, you're going to feel it. You're going to see what's going on with them. Or it will play out in your process. If it's all internal and nothing happens outwardly, no drama, nothing's said, no boats are rocked, inside it's going to be rocking and rolling with your processing of your family or with your sense of where is home. And we've seen this a lot during the pandemic. It has set in motion. That plus climate change is going to just be setting in motion a lot of migration, a lot of people moving, a lot of the housing market inflated and busy. Everybody's moving around, reconsidering what they want, where they want to be. So that's a huge theme. And again, with all of the suddenness of these planets, you might make an announcement or make a sudden decision, like, you know what, I'm getting out of here. I'm going to pare down my stuff and go live in a van. I don't know. Or you may say, I'm tired of cities. That's it. I'm going out in nature. That'd be very Uranus and Moon and Taurus to be like, I need the country. I'm getting out of here. So expect something on these levels. Now, so let's look at where do things flow so we can focus on what would be nice energy. Now, first one that strikes me here is, Venus is trine Uranus. So all of that hyper independent, do something quirky, do something shocking, rebellious, go your own way. Well, Venus in Capricorn is also somebody that's very independent. Venus in Capricorn is like, I've got my own money. I don't need to beg somebody or in order to be taken care of, or I don't need to put up with certain behavior because I depend on that person or I need them. Venus in Capricorn, very independent person. They'll make their own way. They'll make their own money. They don't want to depend on anybody. They will choose who they partner with. Thank you very much. And they want somebody they consider high quality. So with Venus trine Uranus, if you are thinking about doing something where you're going to go off on your own, or say, you know what, I'm tired of being in this pattern, claim that independence, man. Just claim it. Just take charge of it. If there's something that you're chronically feeling sad or disappointed or depressed, and you're like, I'm so tired of being in this broken record, of always feeling this way, of always being treated this way. Well, Venus with Uranus and the moon is like, fine, I'm good. I'm good alone. Thank you very much. I will take charge of, I don't know, like you can be flipping things on their head. Like, let's say if it's dating and you're always on dating apps and you feel disappointed and depressed and there's nobody working out. Well, maybe Venus with Uranus moon is going to go, no more dating apps. I'm going to meet people this way, and this is what I want, and I'm going to go do it. And you sort of stop this energy of like reaching outwards and hoping that something works, like as if it's external, pulling on others, needing others, and then being rejected by or disappointed by. It's like, pull it back, take charge of it on your own. Where do I want to be? Even if I'm alone, where do I want to be? Who do I want to spend my time with? I'm not sacrificing my time just to be included, let's say. So that's a very nice area where that flows. Take charge, be okay to be alone, be okay to support yourself, make those vows to yourself that you are independent and you can choose. And you will get yourself out of some of these conflicts or neediness or any toxic behavior. Toxic people can't stand it if you're independent, right? So it protects you. Now, the other nice thing is that same Venus is making a nice sextile to Mars. So again, it supports the action side of taking charge in the good way, we said. You know, if you take charge of and assert your independence and claim your own life, it will elevate you. It might give some of the good side of that Scorpio that I mentioned, the spiritual, the deep, the wonderful, warm ways, passionate ways that Scorpio can express itself. So, you know, acting out of your independence could bring you a new sense of passion with this moon. So that is just like amazing, right? Try to tap into that in yourself. Now, the other nice aspect here is that Neptune is sitting at 20 degrees Pisces, and it's in the house of creativity and romance and playfulness. Highly creative then, right? If you're an artist, musician, or even if you just love the arts, you don't do them yourself, but I highly encourage you to just like disengage from some of the intensity and put on some amazing music, or go to a gallery or watch videos of people making stuff, write a poem, you know, journal, dance, do something really creative with this Neptune flow. Do something creative or inspirational that feeds your soul. I don't care if you want to do a marathon of movies, sci-fi movies, if that's what does it for you, or spiritual movies, or spiritual music, or going out to, you know, some sort of event that's safe, that connects you along those lines of creativity or spirituality. So that's a nice strong thing happening this full moon. And it is making beautiful aspect to Sun, Mercury, Mars in Scorpio. So this water flow, you know, this is like for people that are more at peace with their emotional side and with expressing it and letting it ebb and flow and not feeling guilty about it. This could be an awesome full moon for you, because these planets could bring you into a nicer or deeper intimacy with people than you've had. And that's the thing about eclipses and intensities. They polarize, you know. There could be some losses, and there can also be some beautiful, you know, very clear alignments with what is right, because you're not drained by spending all this energy questioning or hanging on to what doesn't feel right. So for those of you that are feeling good to go with the flow, and if you're having like a really emotional time and you don't judge yourself, you talk to people about it, you own it, you ask for help for it or whatever, but you're not judging yourself. You're curious about it. Maybe you want to go dance it. Maybe you want to write about it. It's a beautiful self-expressive time if you're accepting of your emotional flow. And that's lovely. I think that's a good place to leave it off. So let's do the tarot now and see what else it brings us. And if anyone listening happens to know how I could share the screen of the chart or put it, I'll have to figure out. It'd be nice if while I'm talking, you could see the chart off in the corner so that it doesn't look like I'm... Anyway, so you can see it. All right. Let's take a look with our tarot. See what it adds to the mix of this full moon. Excuse me. It's getting dry in the apartments again with the heat turned on, isn't it? If you're in Canada, somewhere cold or just wet. All right. So our first card for this full moon is the 8 of Discs, So this is nice. This is sturdy. Look how strong the plant is. The roots are all intertwined and there's flowers. So this is a lovely energy of slow, steady growth, being patient, taking things one day at a time, whether that's with skills or whether that's with people. The card says prudence, so it's just being careful, but not being scared, moving slowly one day at a time, taking on chunks that are bit by bit by bit, allowing the plant to grow and blossom in its own timing. So allowing yourself that too. The sun. This is nice. This is very nice. So yeah, I'm sort of surprised to see like happier cards. There's a glow, there's a shine, there's a joyfulness, there's a sense of being activating your inner child self. This speaks a lot to the aspects I last mentioned of letting your emotions and your creativity flow in that fifth house. Try to look towards what is playful and joyful in the midst of whatever else is going on. And even the harder emotional things that you have to face can bring you back to that inner child, or that maybe there's memories coming up from your childhood as well, processing something old. But it'll give you a feeling of lightness to release it, to remember it. Nice card again, Six of Cups, sorry. Pleasure. It's a Scorpio card too. Again, look at everything flowing, the depth of the water there. The cups and the flowers are all lit up. Everything's harmonious. It's complex, but it's harmonious. So it's sort of like speaking to me of, holding that space for yourself to allow that you're many things. You're not just one thing that's supposed to be, a 30-second ad or like an Instagram post. Like, this is who I am. You're complex and you're deep and you have many sides to you, and you can be at peace with that and accept that. And we've got our Seven of Wands, Mars and Leo. Again, this is speaking about setting boundaries or standing your ground, usually. Sometimes this can be, a one-off, something stupid somebody says. Sometimes this card comes up when you feel pretty broken and it's time to step away. Sometimes there's bullies in the air with this card around. So it depends the severity, but just I would say this card means you should be setting a boundary. You should be standing up for yourself, not taking it one more time. And then the Three of Swords, well, as you can see, it's the sorrow card. There's a grieving that happens with every change, Even happy changes come with grief. Like, let's say you hang that for sale sign and you loved that house, but you're very clear you want to move. You found something great. You're still going to grieve the house that you were in if you loved it, if it was good for you for a while. Relationships that you've outgrown, you're crystal clear, it's time. You're still going to grieve. Even if you haven't been so happy and suddenly something great happens to you, ironically, you're still going to grieve the life that you were used to, So if you do stand your ground here and you allow for this lovely growth we're seeing, just expect that there's going to be some grief that comes with it, and try to move through it and accept it without judging yourself. Oh, that's nice. Then we get to the Peace card, Two of Swords. So there could be some sort of making amends or talks, laying down the swords, right? That's what this card is, laying down the swords, laying down the whatever oppositions, whatever arguments were happening, and speaking from a place more of peace and of fairness and of wanting to understand, wanting to make peace, not trying to be right. It's a moon in Libra. It wants things to be fair. It wants things to be fair and just and it's soft towards people. It's not like a moon in Aries that wants to win. So you can lay down the swords and have those making amends talks with people if you can feel that they're not coming from a place of wanting to dominate or win. If they're coming from a place of really truly wanting to hear you and understand, then there could be some very nice moments for some of you of making amends. Then we have our Eon or Judgment card. So there's always like an assessment and a calling it what it, calling it a day, saying, you know what, I've analyzed this for so long. This is what I decide. This is my assessment. This is where I stand on it. Or, you know what, I've been in this loop of indecision for too long. I'm just going to finally step out and take a decision. And there's no going back, and there's nobody going to tell you what the right one is. You just have to do it. You have to say, here I am. Like the judgment, people think it's, judgment before God. Well, maybe. But it's still the act of stepping before your maker and saying, this is who I am. This is where I stand. Okay, judge me. To me, it's not a punishing card. It's like a very self-affirming card. So especially when there's long-standing patterns in our lives and we say, I'm not doing this anymore. And then you say, I'm done. Like, this is how I see it. I've analyzed it upside down and backwards. I've tried everything I know how to do. And now I'm stepping off the merry-go-round. People are going to be like, oh, right? They're going to be, you're going to activate people by doing that. But that's the act of this Judgment card for me, is like this act of stepping forward and declaring, I have assessed. This is where I stand on it. And it's not to say I'm right and everyone's wrong, but this is where you stand. So that's a very powerful card. It'd be lovely if we get to that point. And the Moon card, well, like I said, the Moon is sensitive to what's beside it. So I'll see what comes as the last card. But the Moon card would, possibly be in the midst of your, declaration. This could represent some of the Scorpio side, the secrets that come out because of it, the things that you see because you have your clarity. You see through the veil. You see through the manipulation. You see people's distorted or negative mental states. That's possible. You also might this could also represent people that are trying to gaslight you about what you are saying you're going to do or what you say you think. The Moon is murky emotionally. So we'll see what the last card is. Oh, well, it's the Magician. We're ending off on a strong note here. So I would say for those of you ready to take that stand, you are also now strong enough to maintain it, despite whatever the Moon card brings you, whether it's, gaslighting is just a perfect description of the Moon card. This confusion it likes to create, this self-doubt it likes to create, this questioning reality kind of state of mind that you can get into if someone's gaslighting you. The Magician, no, he's not going to have that. He's clear. So to me, it looks like if you're at peace and ready to take that stand, I think you're ready to deal with whatever comes with it. And the insights from making a decision, they're always incredible. when you finally get off the hamster wheel, you can look at it and go, oh my Lord, look how fast that was spinning. Oh my gosh, look at the state of this cage. Really? I was living that? Because you decided, you removed yourself. Now you can see it clearly. So I encourage anybody, if you feel ready, only if you feel ready to take those kind of steps. They're huge. They're activate a lot of change, not just the one. And we're all nervous. How am I going to handle this level of changes? Right? What other changes are coming if I make this one? And so we have to feel strong, and we have to feel enough support in order to step out and take those risks. But when you do, I really believe most of the time the universe blesses us with amazing things. When you take that courageous step to grow or to do something that is for your own healing, even if it's hard, the universe rewards it. So how are we going to frame our questions today? I got to get my paper out here. What would be a good way to frame this question? I'm sort of drawing a blank for some reason. Just writing down the signs. Okay. What's the question? All right. You know what? I'm going to pull a card. What angle would be helpful to everybody right now? The Chariot. Okay. Well, the Chariot is about being pushed and pulled in different directions. Okay, let's do that. So the question will be framed as, what do you need to do right now if you're feeling torn? If you are torn or on the fence, if you're needing to decide and you're stuck. So think while I'm shuffling, think about what situation you want this reading to apply to, where you've been on the fence about something. I'm going to see what your advice is. All right, here we go. To the Aries who are on the fence, think about what you're on the fence about. All right, Aries. Princess of Discs. If you're on the fence about anything or anybody, a decision, this card would suggest getting out in nature and getting grounded. She's out in a forest. She's wearing a heavy fur cloak. She's definitely going to feel the weight of this fur, keeping her connected to the ground. She's not fast and bouncing around and sort of semi-spaced out and not really feeling it, if she bumps into something, or, like sometimes Aries, you can get like so whirlwind that you don't feel it. You don't feel stuff. You're just bopping around. This would suggest, like, if you are stuck, you need to be more grounded right now. Get outside. Get out in the elements as best you can. Sit by the water, sit by the trees, go off in the woods, hike. And it sort of suggests doing it solitary, because if you're talking with people or if you're in a group, you won't go within. It'll be too distracting. So for any matter of your heart right now where you're stuck, you need to go off into a little nature retreat scenario to get your answers. That's a lovely one. I love that. All right, Taurus. Oh, that's lovely too. Okay. So Taurus, if you are stuck or on the fence about anything, this is the Empress card. This is all about the Divine Mother energy. So this would suggest that you nurture yourself, and it's on all levels. You know, the Empress here would, she would protect you. She would house you. She would feed you. Maybe there's a nice cat or a dog around to play with or who's comforting you. She's in connection to the mysticism of life. You know, she might talk to you deeply, or she might read you a story or poem, or might tell you the story of a star. She'll understand how you feel, and she'll understand it from a very broad point of view, and she'll give you the right advice in a motherly way. So if you're stuck and overwhelmed during this eclipse, which as a Taurus, imagine you might be, you need a divine mother figure somewhere, somehow. So if it's, it's not common that it's our own mothers, but if it is, you're blessed, go to your own mother, let yourself be pampered a bit, and open yourself up and ask her advice. If you know anyone else around you that you can go to who fits this, or who would do this for you, then go to them. Be open. It's a time to be open to someone else's advice, only from a caring, very caring, nurturing perspective, not like a slap you into shape kind of person. And if you don't have that person in your life, as a lot of people don't, you can find someone who embodies this. There's so many people that are divine mothers who do all kinds of work. You might find her as a doctor, as a dentist, as a pharmacist. You might find her as your acupuncture, massage therapist, your physical therapist. You might find her as your naturopath, or other readers like me, or Reiki practitioners, but you need to go seek this divine mother figure and open yourself and ask, what should I do? Yeah. Boy, these are potent. Okay, Gemini. My goodness. That's all this feminine energy. Oh my Lord, this is a message for everything today. Okay, so the Queen of Cups is quite similar to the Empress. So you also need to go, if you are stuck and torn and on the fence and unsure what to do next, you also need to be comforted. You need a mothery person around you. You need somebody who's sensitive and listens and calm and open to the mysteries of life, understands your emotions, can hold space for you. It's not quite the same as the Empress in terms of like her maybe giving the level of, protection and, meeting all of your needs type of thing with the Empress. The Queen of Cups is a little more like the priestess. She's sort of like a mothery type of mystic. So I would say, in order for you to heal what's coming up, you need a very nurturing person to help you allow yourself to express your feelings and release a lot of charge. Because as a Gemini, you're usually incredibly busy and doing way too many things at once. And a lot of the time you're in your head, or you're feeling swamped by tons of people or demands. And sometimes you enjoy it, and other times you need to just disengage from it. So you need to release some of the emotional buildup. And again, you can do that with a healer. And because it's a Taurus moon, I'm inclined to say, and Scorpio, I'm inclined to say, like, maybe you could go for a swim or get in a hot tub or bath. Maybe you could have a massage, something gentle. Maybe energy work, or somebody who works with aromatherapy. It's something on the gentle side. There's still a feeling of surrendering, sort of like to a mother type energy. And how will this help you get off the fence? Well, because you're always in your head, ignoring sometimes what's in your body or your heart. That's why you can't get to your answers. So you need to allow the feeling side to come up. And then you're so smart, you will figure out what you need to do next. Deep today. I love it, but I didn't intend. Okay, so Cancer. What do you need? Cancer. Okay. Wow. Okay, this is totally different. This is so funny because usually Cancers are the ones that play those other roles for people, these mothery roles. But for Cancer, what you need, if you're needing to get off the fence, is success, the success card. This is the Six of Discs. This is usually a good card for finance. And if you look, the card literally has the moon in Taurus on it. So Cancer, the other thing that I love about this card is you see how, there's a flower in the center and there's a cross underneath. And then there's rings of light. And then there's the discs. And then there's all this protection. And then it radiates out. So what this tells me is that you need to create a harder, like a cocoon or a shell feeling, or I don't want to say a wall, that doesn't sound very nice, but whatever you need right now on a practical level to feel secure and protected energetically, emotionally, physically, you give it to yourself. What you're doing is you need to create a safe space so that you can heal to the next level. And the healing will be definitely something around security in your body and your self-worth. So what's that look like? Well, stop letting people in that just suck from you. Stop spending too much. If you're overeating or whatever, if you're drinking, whatever you're doing, ask yourself, why am I doing this? Am I always doing this when I'm in a certain scenario or around certain people, or when I start, reminiscing on the past or something you feel stuck with? You need to find a way to create, what's the container that I need so that I can really start addressing some of those things. We want to see you improve your health and your finances, and building your self-worth. So the way you get unstuck is to ask yourself, how much space do I need so that I feel safe to start tackling those things? Wow. Leo. I think this is the longest video I've ever done, but it is a big event. So Leos, what do you need? Wow. Very interesting. Sorry, I'm smirking because I'm thinking of some Leos I know. Leo, what do you need if you're stuck or on the fence? You're not going to like me saying this. You've got to let go of control. You're on the fence because you're trying to manipulate something or keep something in place or force it to be the way you want it. Ooh, I know that probably hurts that I'm saying this. But you know what, Leo? Like Scorpio and Taurus squares you. So these eclipses are going to activate Leos. especially if you're born towards the end of the sign, meaning like August, anywhere maybe from like 15th to 21st. And because it squares off your all powerful fixed signs, it leads to power struggles. So the way you release, the way you're going to get off the fence and feel like your life is in flow, because the snake is like, the snake is this infinity symbol that just keeps going round and round, dark and light, things change up and down. You have to accept the changes and accept the seasons. No more forcing, no more trying to fix or save or revive or kick the butt or make things happen. Like, it's the opposite. Like, you need to say, I've done my best, or, oh, okay, people come and go, it's all right. Or, well, I've given it 2 or 3 tries and they're resisting, so I'll just let them go. I'll stop. So yes, huge message for you. You will get off your whatever fences you're on by releasing whatever you're fixated on trying to make a certain way. All right, Virgos. The devil. Devil inside. Virgo, how do you get off the fence or make a decision or get unstuck? This is chunky, Virgo. The devil card. You're the kind of person that will analyze things to the last hair. And so if you're trying to figure things out by analyzing it to death, it's not going to work. It's turning it into this devil side, something obsessive, also maybe controlling, also maybe hoping to manipulate things to be the way you would like it versus the way it is. And then you keep dissecting it because you still want it to be the way you want it to be. Oof, this is a big one. You also will get better or get your decisions clearer. The devil to me is like a lot about, our attempts to control things doesn't mean that we're trying to dominate people. I mean, sometimes this definitely does. And if that's the case, well, it's another story. But we're just talking about your average person who's like tired of things going the same old way. There's an addictive quality. It's our lower nature. So are you addicted to analyzing? Are you using anything else to medicate yourself instead of feeling what's really feeling it, what's going on, what you want to do? Because this is where this could be addictive too if you're a Virgo. Let's say you're in a difficult situation with somebody. You might be addicted to analyzing it because you actually don't really want to admit that you're not happy, or that you don't want to be there anymore, or that you want more with someone and they don't. Like, there's some sort of denial of what's really going on, and instead you medicate yourself either with substance so you can keep going and keep analyzing it and it'll never be right, but you're sort of stuck on that wheel. Or you might be trying to just analyze and get to the bottom of it. It's like this endless bargaining, like the stages of grief. Well, if I had done this, then maybe. If I said this on this day, would it have changed it? If I do this now, could it make this change the way I want it to? If. And as a Virgo, you can just go down that rabbit hole forever and stay stuck. And it's gotten to a distorted level with something in your life where you've bargained yourself into a hole here. And you might have become overly controlling or obsessive about it. So if you can identify what that's talking about, you need to let that situation go. You need to stop figuring it out. You won't figure it out. Not without time or space or leaving or quitting or moving or whatever you need to do next that you're overanalyzing. Yeah. Oh boy, this eclipse is bringing out all the shadow messages of all the deep stuff. Okay. Libra. What do you need to do to get off the fence? Well, Libras, you live on the fence. So this is part of your life path as you're weighing things. So let's just see if, maybe you can identify one thing, situation, or person where you feel particularly stuck, maybe ready to make a decision or change the way you see them, change the behavior towards them. And this would suggest the Prince of Swords is it could be you, but it could also be someone around you. It's someone who's exceptionally clever and bright, but scattered as heck. Scattered, like all over the place, not grounded. And because he's so perturbed by so many people and things and ideas and pulled every single way, as you can see, he actually sort of enslaves the people who are pulling his chariot. But as you can see, like, he's just so tormented and agitated within himself that his body's all crooked and crushed, his sword is up here. Like, how's he even bending his arm like this? He's ineffective, but he's still wielding a sword, and he's still the one driving things, but he's not effective because he's just too anxious. He's too disturbed in his mind. And so he's actually, without probably realizing it, he's sort of enslaving or dominating some other people because of his lack of awareness of anything besides his own torment. Does this sound like you? If it is, this is a tough one to swallow, I know, but I will say it because it's Scorpio time. If you could admit that this is you, are you feeling so much inner chaos that you might be neglecting to realize how things are affecting the people around you? If this is someone that you know that's in your life that this is describing, then I would say this is the time to make a decision and clarify what you will and won't do for this person, or how much you want to listen or engage, or for how long. If it's someone you're not going to let go of, you can still say, you know what, when they start flying off on a certain topic, or if they're angry, I'm going to just tell them I'm busy for now. Can we talk later? But you need to detach from this level of chaos, whoever that is. All right. Boy, oh boy. Now we hit Scorpios. So, Scorpio, what do you need to do? Well, that's nice. Well, Scorpio, if you are feeling stuck in any way, this is again coming back to the nurturing thing, but not necessarily through a person like the other cards showed, empresses and queens. And this is the moon in Cancer. It says luxury. So ironically, the way that you would get your clarity is by honoring, like a moon in Cancer would cocoon, have comfy clothes and soft blankets, and make sure you're warm and you've got nice food and you give yourself this luxurious kind of feeling safe and protected. Because Moon in Cancer also is really emotional and sentimental, sensitive to everything, like radar sensitive, psychic sensitive. So it doesn't have this feeling of like put yourself in a cocoon or anything, but it definitely says like treat yourself, spoil yourself, pamper yourself, give yourself that self-care. And if you look at the water flowing, that can be creativity, that can be emotion, for good and bad. But it's like it's all clean, healthy water. It's a watershed, if anything. It's a flowing fountain. It's abundant. So I'm also going to say like pampering, but would help you get more clarity about something. A good long nap, sleeping in more, buying yourself or being around something, an environment that makes you feel so homey would be healing and would give you your clarity. Being around people who are like that too, thoughtful, nurturing people. And also possibly, just letting yourself flow out whatever creativity you have to share as well. It feels like a beautiful blossoming and flowering. So if that's your message, and you're feeling stuck on any level, maybe you're suppressing something good, something beautiful that wants to come out, and you need to just find the right space to do it with. Yeah, that's very nice. All right, Sagittarius. Okay. Oh, that's very nice. So for you, this is such a clear message to me. If you're stuck and on the fence, you've got to raise the bar. Look at, she's literally raising the bar. Her hand is lifting a lid and lifting it over the earth, and it's going higher. She's pouring out something below. Her arms are outstretched. Everything is serpentine, kind of flowing. The earth is spinning. The star is in motion. Everything is in motion if you raise the bar. So this means, the star is a card of dreams and ideals. So I always caution with the star, like your dreams or ideals, you don't want to be completely pie in the sky. Like test your dreams for their potential, their reality. But dream. Keep your hope. Keep your hope. Raise the bar, meaning ask for more. Envision that things can go better. That's the star. When it gets inspired and hopeful enough, the star can be strong enough to manifest something really magical or new. So if you're feeling sort of thwarted or on the fence again, crossroads or stuck, it might be because you're seeing life down here from maybe it's too mundane or too sort of practical, or it's resigning yourself and you're trying to decide this or that based on being sort of a bit down. If you say, yeah, but this is possible, of course it is, Well, now maybe it's going to be very crystal clear. If you were to follow your dream today, who's walking with you? Who's not? That can be very crystal clear to help you decide. You know, if you have your dream intact, well, is the job I'm doing supporting that? Does it add to it? It's a very clear answer once you know what your dream is. I love that message. All right, Capricorn. So, 1 second. Capricorns. Sorry about that. You have the 9 of Wands. So for you, if you are feeling stuck in any way, this is a card of strength. It says strength. It's the Sun in Sagittarius card. So you might not like this message either, but this is what I'm getting. You might be feeling stuck because you're trying to get everybody else to buy into your dream or your plans. You might be feeling frustrated because, you know, you want other people to be with you or on the same page as you or at the same pace as you with something, and they're not. And the strength card is like, you have to come back to yourself and do it for yourself again. It doesn't mean people don't love you or are rejecting you if they're not on the same timing as you. But in order for you to feel better or recover or make a decision about who's with you and who's not, maybe, or how much of this you're going to do with or without others, you need to pull back to the Sun in Sag is about, you know, your personal freedom, your adventurousness. You've got to come back to, I'm doing this anyway. It's what we said in the chart, Venus in Capricorn, trine Uranus moon. Just claim what you want and let go of whether other people are with you or who or how. And just claim it back for yourself and act. All right, Aquarius. All right, interesting. This isn't easy. But Scorpio Taurus also squares off with Aquarius. So it's going to be, plus Saturn is in your sign and Jupiter. So there's a lot of pressure on Aquarians during the eclipse. And that's going to continue, like I said, for the next couple years on and off with these eclipses. What you're doing here, it's crystal clear for me. You're breaking out of anything oppressive. This is the card says oppression, Saturn and Sag. There's areas of your life where you feel very overburdened and oppressed and not free. And very often I know this card comes with being in sustained toxic dynamics, whether it's work or marriages that are not healthy, dynamics that are, by the time you get to the 10 of Wands, it's like you're so beyond the point that you should have left or done something about it. Now you're like a piece of soggy bread. And somehow most people refuse to let go, even in that state. Then what tends to happen is you'll get, your back will go out. You'll get migraines. You won't be able to function. Life, when the oppression card is there, life will force you to stop doing what you're doing. So it's better that you can recognize where in your life is something oppressive to you. Do it now. Start to pull back if you need to quit, if you need to divorce, if you need to find a caregiver for a difficult person. There's something that is accumulated to this level of feeling that you don't have any room to move or any choice. And you're very strong as an Aquarian, and you will stick through almost anything, no matter what the suffering. That's what I've noticed about them, about Aquarians. But it's time to look at your sort of stubbornness about that. Or maybe it's ego that keeps us, no, I'm strong enough. I can handle that. There's nothing wrong. I'll keep going. Oh, yes, I injured myself in the process. Or, oh, yes, this person is, abusing me, but it's okay. I can handle it. I can do it. No, don't. Because this card will sooner or later play out as the universe forcing you. And that we do not want to see. So if you're feeling this way, the biggest thing you can do for yourself is to leave. Start backing away from whatever feels oppressive. Even if it's not people or your job, maybe it's the amount of time you spend. Maybe it's that you're ignoring something, how tired you are. Maybe you're postponing something that you need physically to be healthy. Stop it. And Pisces. Ah, lovely. You get the pleasure card. So for you, well, if you're on the fence, I mean, the way you get out of being on the fence is the nice way we said, where things are in flow, where if you express your passion, if you express your emotions, if you feel sensual, if you want to, if you express your creativity, like I said with another sign, I think it was Scorpio, it's sort of, if you're being true to your intuition and your emotional flow and your passions, that is a form of decision or protection, because people that are receptive to it genuinely are there for you. They get you, they see you, they love you, they they support that. If people shut it down, or they're competitive with it, or they dismiss you, or you feel like you can't be that version of yourself around somebody, then that's your answer. So this is sort of the nicest message ever. It's like, let your love flow, be yourself. And if it pushes people or you get, then just trust your intuition on that, and it will tell you how you need to reorient yourself. But I don't get any big dramatic feeling of something with you right now, Pisces. It seems like, okay, readjusting, but I don't see a lot of drama. But what a beautiful way to leave this off. So I would say to you then, if any of you need or would like a reading more precise and personal to your chart, if you're ready to deep dive with me, this is where I like to go. If you want a reading, then I'm available. My email is in the description box. If you like these videos, please share them. Please subscribe and share. It makes me happy. And I will do a follow-up meditation video for this full moon as well to help you. So sit tight and be strong, and use this to activate your life. Use this to activate where you know you need to be. All right, take care.